Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live stream. This is something a little bit different to some of the previous hangouts and commentaries that we've done. I'm joined with my friend Jack, the film fanatic, once again, and today we're basically doing a rant. It's somewhat in relation to what's going on in the world at the moment. The coronavirus pandemic, or COVID-19, as some people call it. Uh, but mainly this rant is kind of focusing on the movie industry, although obviously we may talk about other aspects of the pandemic as well. So yeah, I guess I'll let Jack kick this off. So obviously the movie industry has taken a massive hit this year with the lockdown. I mean every country has had a lockdown at some point, but in England the UK, we went into lockdown back in March, and we slowly managed to ease the restrictions, but and then to the point where the cinemas could actually reopen in July. Excuse me. And since then, we haven't had any new releases since Tenet and New Mutants. They're the only two new releases that have come out since the lockdown, which is worrying. And this is annoying because the movies, well, I don't think New Mutants has done very well, but it was never going to. But Tenet has done well. It had a slow start in America, but in the UK, it did rather well. And it was recently announced that movies like The King's Man and Black Widow have been delayed till next year, which is kind of defeating the whole point of actually opening the cinemas. You know, I mean, so far we've got the only films that are left to come out this year, unless anything changes, is Wonder Woman 1984, which was meant to be for October, but has now been delayed till December. Uh, no Time to Die, the Bond movie, which the producers have confirmed they want to get it out for November. So hopefully that will come out, unless anything changes. But we've also got Soul, the Pixar movie, which is scheduled for like a week after No Time to Die in November, and Death on the Nile, which is in the UK meant to be an October release. So that's the next big movie we've got coming out. But as a result of these delays, the cinemas that have reopened, they're all taking hits because there's not enough new releases really. It's annoying. I mean, and cinemas can't survive on old reruns, and I think the reruns have kind of stopped now. At least for England, they have. So I think I'll hand over to Jack. I mean, obviously our health is more important than the movie industry. I totally understand that. But putting it into perspective, we are no way near as bad as we were in March. I mean, in March it was just chaos, but at the moment, obviously the cases have risen, so I can understand the Prime Minister's precautions, Boris Johnson. I can understand his tightening of the restrictions. I think he's kind of done what he should do, really. But I don't think going into another national lockdown is the answer, and I don't think they want to do that. But it is a concern. I mean, and who knows how the next few months will play out. We've got October and November to kind of really gauge how this is going to go. December is going to be the crunch time where we actually do see if anything is going to get worse. I mean, it's the winter season, so yeah. To be honest, no one knows what to do. So I think I'll hand over to Jack now and let him give his piece. But Jack, what's the sort of situation been like in Ireland? Because obviously you're from a different neck of the woods to me. So can you give us a bit of an insight into that, and also your feelings about what's going on at the moment?
Well, in Northern Ireland, the coronavirus situation isn't that bad. Not compared to England. I mean, there have been deaths, but not as many. But the good news is, in some ways, the cinemas are open now. So I mean, that's good news. So we can all go back to cinema and sort of escape from the bad stuff that's going on in real life. But no, I mean, I think my main issue right here is the whole delay in the movies. I think it's kind of ridiculous to delay Wonder Woman, uh, all these films, Black Widow. And Kingsman. I just think it's kind of ridiculous now. I mean, the coronavirus, it's nowhere near as bad as it once was. Um, I mean, yes, people are still dying, and I realize that there's a pandemic, but I think delaying all these films it's just the wrong response. I mean, when we came out of lockdown, they started to open up the cinemas again, and I think delaying all these films it's irresponsible, really, because you're opening these cinemas and you're opening it to the public, and you're showing films like Tenant, and now you're delaying most of the films. I mean, the only new releases out this year have been, New Mutants, Tenant, and there's that other film, that Russell Crowe film, which didn't get great reviews. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah, Unhinged.
yeah, yeah, Unhinged. But I mean, apart from that, we've had fuck all new releases, which is
Yeah,
a
well,
real
only the ones before lockdown, of course.
yeah. But I mean, that doesn't really count, does it? I mean,
Well, yeah, I
for
mean 1917, like in January, and like we
yeah.
had Sonic in February. Onward came out in March, and that was kind of it. Really, there wasn't much else.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's just ridiculous now. I mean, like I think Ollie told me about these cinemas in Peckham, a couple cinemas in Peckham, whatever, might be going under because their cinemas are open, but there's like no new films that are coming out, and it's kind of selfish, really, that these movie studios, they open up the cinemas again, and then they just delay all their films. I mean, it's ridiculous. We need these cinemas making money. We don't want cinemas going under. We don't want people going out of business. And I mean, and the thing is, what annoyed me most about these release dates is, they delayed some of them before Tenant even came out, or when it was only out for a week or two. Like Kingsman, we were already supposed to have it by now. It's the end of September. We were already supposed to have it. They didn't wait until Tenant made its money at the box office. They didn't wait until that came out. They just delayed it, which is really frustrating. And yeah, same with Black Widow. They delayed that. I think they delayed Definite Nile to like December now, and they pushed all these films back that were supposed to come out
Well,
later
actually,
this year.
sorry, Jack. Death on the Nile is only delayed in the US. In the
Yeah,
UK, I think it's still scheduled for October. So, but yeah,
yeah, no,
the US are obviously still a bit behind in terms of opening cinemas.
yeah, no, that's what I was saying. That in the US, it's been delayed, and I just think it's kind of ridiculous now. We need these films out there. We need to get the economy going, and part of getting the economy going is open up the cinemas and playing films in cinemas so it can generate money. Um, and yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you're gonna make all these movie cinemas go out of business because there's no films to show, no new releases, and
Yeah,
I
and,
mean,
and and as I said, they can't rely on old releases. It's kind of pointless to re-release old films.
yeah. I mean, I don't mind seeing some of these re-releases, but not everybody's going to watch them. There's going to be a lot of people that
Yeah,
are like, I want to see a new release.
exactly. I mean, with the fact of the matter is, we got all these streaming services like Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV, all these ones. I mean, my local cinema, I've still got a couple of showings left of Onward, which is in a way kind of pointless because it's now on Disney Plus. And now my cinema have actually reduced the amount of showings they've got. They're only opening in the evenings now, which is bizarre. There's just not enough for them to show. I mean, they're still showing Tenet, but they're reducing the amount of showings. So we need a new release. They're desperate for it. I mean, I think it's fair to say that the industry is banking on No Time to Die. If No Time to Die doesn't release this year, then we're screwed. Literally, that there is going to be no money left in this industry. It is going to be very hard to recover from this. But I mean, what's your sort of opinion on that? And obviously, No Time to Die itself has been in delay and everything. So, I mean, it'd be a miracle to even see this movie.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, as well, is we got to remember here that these places need to make money. All these places need to make money, and the cinemas need to make money, and the movie industry needs to make money, and you're just losing money by keep delaying these films, because if you keep releasing trailers and posters for these films and then you keep delaying them, like No Time to Die was delayed and all these other films were delayed. I mean, thankfully No Time to Die is going to be coming out now in November, fingers crossed, but You can't just keep delaying these, films forever. You can't keep them on the shelf. And what I'm concerned about is 2021. We're just gonna have every month's gonna be packed out with big films. Like you're gonna have three or
Yeah,
four big films a month, and it's just gonna be overcrowded. And it's just and the thing is, if you have like three or four big films coming out a month, you know, some of these films are gonna lose money because there's so much competition each
yeah.
month. So yeah,
I mean that's the thing. I think you'll get a string of, well, assuming that things are going all well next year. We don't even know what will happen next year. Assuming things will go back to normal at some point, all the sort of releases probably more later next year will do okay. Will do quite well. Um, I mean, they'll all have to release. I mean, 2021, I think, could be the year when money starts to come back into the industry. But at the same time, because there's been a lack of films this year because of lockdown, we've had to. It's taken a while to get to this point, so it does feel like a waste of time. I'm not going to lie, and it concerns me. It really does concern me. That's why Bond is has got to be the has got to be the good Samaritan of films, if you know what I mean. No Time to Die, which has already been heavily marketed anyway, but now even more so because I mean, Death on the Nile will obviously come out a few weeks beforehand, like a month beforehand anyway. But I don't know how well that will do. I mean, it'll be something to go and watch, so it's better than nothing. But Bond is, I think, because of all the other delays, Bond has the chance to do very well. So obviously, with social distancing in place, yes, it will be harder, but you've got to take the risk at the moment. You've just got to take the risk. I think studios are copping out. I think with Black Widow, it was a cop out. It was like they're like, oh well, let's just wait till next year when there won't be any social distancing. It's like, well, how do you know that? I mean, and it's just. I mean, it's not like Disney is short on cash anyway, but with Black Widow, like they could have just fucking released it. They could have just released it, and it would have been fine. Like because there's nothing out at the moment. Since September, nothing has come out, so you would think that one of the releases would have stayed. Like Wonder Woman, I don't know why that was delayed till Christmas. Why is it delayed till December? It didn't make sense. I know it's only 2 months, but it didn't make sense to me. I just didn't understand that. The Black Widow one, I could sort of understand more. They want to do it next year when they think there's more of a chance of making money. But like, surely the winter time in December is going to be worse for the virus. That's kind of a silly time to release the movie, but I don't know. Or maybe just because holiday season and everything. Maybe that's what they thought. But yeah, I just don't understand the mentality at the moment of the film industry. It just seems to be all up in the air. I mean, we can't worry about a virus forever. I mean, yes, we will hopefully get a vaccine at some point, but I appreciate the Bond producers having the confidence to say, you know what, we're sticking to our guns. We want to release No Time to Die in November. And they obviously chose that date for a good reason. So thank God for that. But like you say, it's hard to know what will happen. And there's not much to say, really. But this COVID thing has really just put a downer on everyone. It's been a difficult year. And I know that there's been some outbreaks in the university sectors. Like on the news this morning, I watched a student who's being interviewed on video call, and he said that there was a party in another, like in his dorm with over 100 people, and of course you can't socially distance in a flat with 100 people. So, and some of them tested positive for the virus. So some people aren't following the rules, and that's obviously going to backfire. I can't speak for other parts of the world really, but yeah, I mean, people have to really, if there is a time to follow the rules, it's now. I mean, now that we're more prepared than we were back in March, we have a sort of an understanding of how this virus operates and what the symptoms are. And there is that NHS track and trace app thing, which I did download, and it does kind of work. I mean, I can't sort of speak majorly on it, but it scans pretty much all the time. So if you're out, it's probably going to be quite handy. It says in my area, the risk level is medium, which isn't too bad. So yeah, I think I'll just check it every so often. But everybody is encouraged to download that. So if you haven't done that, then do so. Sam asked the question. Yeah, I mean, cinema was one of my favorite things to do. So Yeah, I feel kind of lost without it. That might sound like an exaggeration to some, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate streaming and all of that stuff. The streaming services like Disney Plus and Netflix are all great and fantastic, but there's nothing like going to that room and having the big screen experience. And certain things are made for that. I mean, Jack, sorry, I know I've been talking for a bit. Like, do you have any streaming services or DVDs and Blu-rays? Obviously, you have DVDs and Blu-rays, but like, obviously, would you agree with me when you say you can't beat the big screen experience?
No, you can't. I mean, I saw The Matrix yesterday in the cinema in the Omniplex, which is a really big screen, and yeah, you can't beat that. I mean, I do like watching films on DVD and Blu-ray, but it's not the same as seeing a great movie on a big screen. And yeah, I mean, I think this whole virus thing has been overblown. I mean, yes, there's been people who died from it, but there's been like 19 million recoveries worldwide. It's got a 99% survival rate. And I do think the government and other people have overreacted to this, like scientists saying, oh, we should go into a second lockdown. And I just think that would be catastrophic for the economy, for everything else. And it's like, I mean, that's the thing I'm worried about is if they do go into a second lockdown. I don't think they will. I mean, the Conservatives said it's the last straw that they'll do, go into a second national lockdown. But, if that does happen, then we're definitely not getting bombed, I don't think. I think
Yeah.
they'll probably be like, yeah. They'll probably, because the cinemas will be shut, they'll probably be like, yeah, well, we're going to have to move the date, unless the cinemas open up again for the November release date. But yeah, I mean, I just think we need to get these films out. I mean, the thing is as well, like nobody knows. Like the economy could get worse next year. Like the COVID could get worse next year, and if you keep delaying it, it's ridiculous. Because I mean, if you delay it to January or whatever, well, I mean, winter isn't over until March. Around that time, that's when spring starts, and it's going to be pretty cold in January and February, and the virus will probably thrive in that cold weather. So, I mean, I think it's just best to get these films out now, and I think it is ridiculous, delaying all these films. And if Bond delays, I'll be really pissed off. And I think, yeah, the movie industry is going to be looking pretty bad if they keep delaying these films. And, I mean, Tenet made a decent amount of money. I mean, it didn't make, a huge amount, but it still made its money back, and it still made, a lot of money. So, I think it's time to time to risk it. Just open the cinemas. I mean,
Risk it all.
yeah, it's called risk it. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I think it's time to open up the cinemas again. We've had enough. I mean, the cinemas already open here, but in America, they need to open a few more cinemas. And and the thing is, like, cinemas have got like social distancing, they've got hand sanitizers, they've got everything that you need. And not only that, but when I book a ticket for the cinema, there's always a couple of chairs space there when you go there because of this whole COVID thing. So, I mean, it's very unlikely you're going to get COVID from going to the cinema. That's all I'll say. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just think, yeah, let's get these films out now, and let's stop, dilly-dallying. Let's stop pussyfooting around this, But, yeah.
Exactly. And just to highlight what you said about safety measures, yeah, I've been back to the cinema quite a few times since July, and the safety measures have been fine. I mean, it's never been that busy, but even if it has been slightly busier, like you say, when you book a ticket, automatically the next two seats are blocked from you. So you can socially distance in the cinema fine, and they will only seat 50% of the capacity. Which, yeah, okay, that might mean that it's harder for the new releases to make money straight away, but Tenet has proved that they can do it. And with Bond, I think with No Time to Die specifically, it's such a popular franchise and a high anticipated film. I think it will do well, and I think it could bring in a lot of money. So if we went into another lockdown, it would be catastrophic. But I think, to be honest, even when No Time to Die releases, people will be booking in advance anyway. And they won't allow you to book more than half the screen, and obviously they'll be scattered around. So what they'll need ushers to make sure that the customers exit the cinemas, in an orderly manner. Like if it's a busy screen, if there's not too many people, then they're not going to be too worried about it. But yeah, and also what Sam said in the chat. Well, Sam, they actually have started locking down areas that are suffering COVID the most. I mean, a while ago, Leicester in England, which is up north, that went into lockdown, and I think Blackburn was in lockdown. I think Liverpool have actually gone into lockdown.
And I think Bolton went into lockdown as well.
Yeah, Bolton. Where's Bolton? Sorry.
North of England.
Oh yes, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yes, yeah. So there are other areas that are still in lockdown. I mean, the area where I am is okay. It's not too bad. I mean, most people are complying with the rules. Everywhere I go now, I'm seeing everyone wearing a mask, or even if they're not wearing a mask, they're outside and it's fine. If they're inside, obviously, like they can't go into places without a mask. Everybody is taking this very seriously. Well, most people. There are always going to be some ignorant people that won't. I can't speak for schools. I don't know what's happening with that. Although, I mean, some schools have suffered. Like my old school that I went to, the sixth form closed because someone tested positive for the virus. So the schools, I think, are going to sort of be struggling for a long time, to be honest. But then you can't stop people learning. You know, they have to get their education. But maybe more learning should be done online. But then again, do you run the risk of mental health? So, I mean, people say, "Oh, the government don't know what they're doing." Well, what can they do? This is a new virus. They're having to sort of try and keep everyone safe, but also try and keep the world going. So they're constantly trying to adapt. That's, I mean, to some people it feels like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. They're just telling us all these random things with no reason. Well, the reason is because they're trying to figure it out. There's no easy way around this. This virus is it's unpleasant. It's completely unpleasant. It works in mysterious ways. Now that we know how it works, we know sort of how to deal with it. I mean, until we get a vaccine, we can never go back to how we were. That's just the reality. But we've got to try, and I appreciate that we are trying. And again, don't cop out and go into another lockdown. Only lock down the areas that have the virus, and everyone just needs to be a bit self-reliant. You know, why should the government spoon feed everyone? Okay, the government needs to give us guidelines and tell us what the appropriate measures are. That's fine. But they shouldn't, you know, common sense is a wonderful thing, which some people, dare I say it, don't have. But yeah, it's sorry about that. But this is a rant video. I'm not going to lie to anyone. This is a rant video. It's ridiculous. And, you know, again, this is not really just speaking about the cinemas, to be honest, just life in general. Like, there's now a curfew for the hospitality industry. So anywhere which is like a pub or restaurant have to close by 10 p.m. I don't know what difference that honestly makes to the virus, but I suppose maybe because it's going to be very cold in the evenings. Maybe that's why. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, as long as, I mean, at least the curfew isn't like a worldwide curfew, or like the whole country has to curfew in 10 p.m. But yeah, so I suppose it's a compromise. But I mean, Jack, what has anything sort of changed in terms of Ireland? Any sort of major restrictions other than what Boris has said, or?
Yeah, there are certain places you can't go to. I mean, I think learning now in schools is going to be done online, and I mean, not all of it. Some schools are going back, I think, but I think it's all basically mostly going to be. Nightclubs are closed and stuff like that, and you know, and you have to wear a mask in the shop and stuff. So it's getting a bit out of hand now, and I think people need to wise up as well. Like, you know, I mean, Boris was saying he was threatening another lockdown if people don't obey the Rule 6, and it seems to be mostly young people apparently that are not listening to the rules and stuff. And it's like, you know, for God's sake, you know, the sooner you obey the rules and, you know, do what you're fucking told and, you know, stay away from certain people and, you know, obey the rules. You know, this lockdown, we won't need to go into another one. But if these people, like you said, like this kid said, no, this young guy and the student said there was like a party going on with like 100 people. Like, you know, if you're gonna do that shit, then you know we're gonna be in another fucking lockdown. So my message is, wise the fuck up. You know, like seriously. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, feel free to go on. I mean, this is a rant video. You can share whichever thoughts you like, but it goes for the same for everyone else. I mean, the USA, they're still in a bloody rut. They've been pretty much consistent since March. But I know the man didn't give them the virus, but the man running the country clearly is incompetent, and Trump does not give a fucking shit. I mean, let's just be real. He does not care about the economy, the American people, the coronavirus, any of it.
I do care, Ollie, and I'm going to build a wall around you.
Just inject yourself with bleach and some disinfectant. Oh, fuck me. I'm never going to get over that. Oh. I don't know. I mean, I'll let you go with Trump because I don't know what to say.
I mean, I don't live in the USA, but his handling of the virus has been a bit of a joke. He seems to care more about doing rallies and calling out Joe Biden than he does actually, caring about his citizens and fighting off this virus, which is a really serious threat. And that's the thing. Like, people need to take this virus seriously, and Trump needs to take this seriously. And he's making fun of Joe Biden for wearing a mask. It's like, yeah, well, you're the guy who who says, oh, I wouldn't wear a mask, and it's like, well, why don't you set an example for your people and tell them that they should wear masks, they should stay safe, they shouldn't be in large groups. But no, I mean, all he does is fucking be like, I'm going to build a wall around Mexico and all this crap.
And what was that controversial video where Trump was he was doing a conference or something, and there was a Chinese reporter, a lady, and he got into an argument with her about the coronavirus. This was back in, I think, April. So.
Yeah, I think he was talking. I mean, I'm not sure, but I think he was talking about China and like this is a China plague and all this stuff. And it's kind of ridiculous to be blaming China for this stuff. I mean, it wasn't good, but we can't go around blaming other people and starting arguments and threatening China and stuff because of this whole virus thing. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. And we need to just we just need to get through this virus thing, and people need to listen to the rules in America and listen to the rules in the UK and other places, and let's just get this fucking virus out of the way. Let's get a vaccine and fuck this virus. I mean, literally, fuck it, Yeah.
Power to the people. Fuck this virus. That's what he should be saying.
Yeah, but he doesn't. That's Trump.
I mean, again, Boris isn't a perfect man, and I'm not going to be the first to admit that, but I appreciate that he is at least trying. People accuse the English government, or sorry, the UK government of not knowing what they're doing. But to be fair, it is kind of hard to know what to do, really. Jack's just left, but I appreciate that Boris did eventually take us into a lockdown, and he's put measures in place, and he's constantly in discussion about the virus and everything. He's doing his absolute best, and he's not been in power that long. Well, in terms of being a prime minister, he's not been prime minister that long. So I give kudos to him, for doing his absolute best, and he actually got the virus himself. So he's been working desperately to kind of, keep people safe and everything. And the lockdown, it wasn't for nothing. It did help reduce the amount of cases and whatnot. So, yeah, it does work, but it would just be such a shame to resort to that, obviously, because of, also Christmas is coming up, which wouldn't be good for anyone. And like we've all said, the movie releases, in particular, No Time to Die. Sam, those people who don't follow the rules are very selfish. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. And the thing is, lockdown, as good as it was in terms of keeping us safe, it affects people's mental health. It's, there's people that are going to struggle with it more than others. If people live alone as well, it's just going to drive them mad. I'm lucky I live with my parents and my sister, so I live with 3 other people. So it could be worse for me. But I know some people obviously can do virtual calls and everything. So at least we live in an age with technology, so we never feel completely alone. So, that's something to consider. No, it's fine, Sam. Be honest. I mean, the world is the world is in a terrible place. I mean, lockdown was kind of all right for me. I mean, it allowed me to clear my head. I wasn't really in a good place at the start of the year, mentally. But I'm glad that the lockdown happened in that sense. But obviously, because of the virus itself, that was something I wasn't gonna, enjoy. And it did feel quite tedious at first. But as time went on, gradually got used to it, and now things have opened, so it's not as bad. Hello, Jack. Welcome back.
Hey. Sorry, my iPod died.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sorry for your loss. Just to kind of shine a light on the lockdown. I just spoke briefly about my lockdown experience. What was it like for you? I mean, obviously, some people live alone, which is harder for them, and mental health could be affected if we go into another lockdown, as well as the economy. But for you, because obviously you live with the family, so what was your lockdown experience overall like?
Overall, even though it was a bit boring staying indoors, it didn't affect me that much because I kept myself entertained, like watching films, going out for a walk, stuff like that. So, the lockdown didn't like bother me that much, but at the same time, it kind of did because I didn't get to see my friend for like 5 or 6 months because of the whole lockdown thing, and yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad we're through it now, but that lockdown lasted quite a while. I mean, was it like 1 or 2 months, maybe longer than that? And yeah, it's just I don't think we need another one personally. I don't think we need another lockdown. And yeah, I think the economy's already fucked. The economy is fucked beyond repair at the moment. So if you just go into another lockdown, more people are going to lose jobs. The economy's going to be even more ruined. And I mean, you need to keep the economy going, and you need to we don't need another lockdown because you know we need to keep the economy running, and and with people having jobs, that helps the economy recover. But if you just go into lockdown again and shut everything down and shut down city centers and people just confined to their homes again, it's going to be bad as well for people's mental health. I mean, especially older people. People stuck in their homes for a long time. It's going to affect their mental health, and we all know that old people can get things like Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff. So, you don't want to go down that route of another lockdown. And yeah, I just think it would help if yeah, we just have mini lockdowns where the virus is peaking. Certain areas go into lockdown, but not the whole country. I think that's taking it too far. But yeah.
Yeah, and also Sam just mentioned about Christmas. Yeah, because of this new rule of six, which obviously, well, it's not a new rule really. It's kind of re-implementing the rule that was set out in July when Boris eased the restrictions. Yeah, I mean, Christmas is going to be very different. I mean, we won't be able to have mass family gatherings. I mean, it's a shame because I tend to see most of my family during Christmas and whatnot. Like Christmas Eve, I see a lot of my mum's side of the family. Then Boxing Day, see dad's side of the family, and then Christmas Day's at home. So Christmas Day will be absolutely the same, but the other 2 days will be boring and very different. So, I mean, that's for me personally. But obviously, other people who live alone are probably gonna feel miserable this year. Obviously, there's video call, but at the same time, it's not the same. So, yeah, I think Christmas we're gonna have to sort of accept that Christmas will be different this year, and we're gonna have to sacrifice that a bit. I just hope that mentally people will be okay, but and yeah, I just hope in the new year things will start to improve. I mean, by at the very early, I mean, at the very latest by spring, that would be nice to think when, maybe next March, when we go into spring, hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it's hard to find the end of that tunnel at the moment. It really is. But I mean, in terms of your Christmas, Jack, I don't know what you normally do, but I would imagine you're probably just going to be at home this Christmas.
I usually see my family at Christmas and stuff, so um, I'll probably just, I mean, if there's not another lockdown, I'll probably just see them, and it should be good. But I'm not going on anywhere on holiday, thank God, because I think if it's this whole people like I think aren't allowed to go on holiday right now, or like it's just sort of that Rule 6 thing. I think that's coming in England. I don't know if it's coming over here, but yeah, yeah. I mean, I just think hopefully Christmas is better, but yeah, this virus
Yeah.
thing is I mean, apparently they're talking about a twin pandemic, like because all the because you get the flu and the cold during winter time, so I think they're worried about that. But yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think there will be a huge pandemic. I think people are sort of overreacting, to what could happen. I mean, we're still. I think we're all right in terms of cases. I mean, people are still recovering. I mean, people are getting COVID, but that's one thing that bothers me. Is like they always talk about COVID cases, but they never tell you how many people have recovered from it. It's always someone's got COVID and someone's died. It's never
Yeah.
like these people have recovered. So I think we need to just wise up and just get
Yeah.
on for life. Like,
Well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check on here on the statistics board, and this is it doesn't have today's statistics, obviously, but yesterday, since 25th of September, 6,873 cases of the virus. That doesn't necessarily mean death or whatnot, but in terms of the general overview, 429k cases, which isn't the worst. Deaths are 41,971. I don't know if that's since yesterday. I imagine it probably is. But there's, it doesn't say how many have recovered, but it's not as bad as March. That's, I mean, the case rate is going up, but March and April. April is where I think it peaked, which was really bad. So yeah, it's kind of. I mean, also with the statistics, it was kind of hard to really judge because it was such a new virus and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, what a strange year it's been.
yeah, it's been a really shit start to a new decade. God.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. But hopefully it gets better next year. I mean, hopefully this virus fucks off soon and we can get a vaccine. But yeah, I mean, just talking about the cinemas though, I really think with cinema films as well, like they need to release these films on cinema. They can't put them on streaming, especially not Bond. I mean, you can't put Bond on streaming. You definitely need to release that in the cinema so it can make its money back. And I think they should do the same with the other films like Black Widow and all that. I mean, these films, cost millions to make. And putting it on streaming, you're not going to be able to make the money back.
Yeah, exactly. You need the audiences in the cinema to really make a profit. And obviously, I think they've obviously accepted the fact that COVID has happened, and they may not make the money they want, but they'll try their best to sell it. And I think they are trying. The marketing team are obviously trying actively to sell Bond anyway. But yeah, like it's only telling. I mean, if we can avoid another national lockdown, then we'll definitely see it. And I think it'll be something positive for this year because this year's been real shit, and we waited so long, and we waited since April, so it will actually ease a bit of my frustration, and I think everybody's frustration. And you'll still be able to see the screens, no problem. With all the delays of other movies, you'll have plenty of cinemas across the country to screen this film in, and you'll have many showings. I mean, think about how many showings you'll have, and seating 50% of the screen. Well, I think it'd be fine. I honestly think I'm 95% confident that this film will make money even during the pandemic. So yeah, but that's just. I mean, I'm no distributor. I'm just a fan, just judging by what the situation is. So yeah. And also, before we I guess we'll probably call it a day soon because there's not much else to say. But Sam asked you a question, Jack, in the live chat.
Oh, what is it?
What's your favourite snack at the cinema?
Probably popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I prefer salted popcorn, but a lot of people prefer sweet.
Yeah, I prefer sweet if I'm being honest, but yeah.
Oh, well, now you can have a mixed. Actually, they do allow you to purchase it mixed, but I just tend to go for salted. I don't know why I'm not much of a sweet tooth.
Yeah, I usually sneak sweets into the cinema because it's bloody expensive to buy them there. But yeah,
Yeah, it can be a little bit expensive, but yeah, I just tend to get a drink and a tub of popcorn, so I just tend to just prefer to buy it there. It's because the drinks are cold as well; they put ice in them. So
I usually buy popcorn at the shop and then put it in a bag and then bring it in. But sometimes I will get popcorn and drinks there. I mean, when they give you a bucket of popcorn, it is usually quite big and you get a lot of popcorn. But I mean, I think what they're doing now as well is like the pick and mix. Like they grab the pick and mix for you. You like tell them what to grab and put in the bag because like I think they're worried about COVID. That if you touch the little shovel for the pick and mix, that you could spread the virus if you have it. But so that's what they're doing. But yeah.
I think that was part of the agreement when all the cinemas reopened that they weren't allowed to, by government regulations, they weren't allowed to sell pick and mix unless the staff did it themselves for the customer. Although my local cinema, they're just not selling it, which is kind of a silly decision really. Or actually no, I think they might have been, but they left all of the pick and mix in the back, so they had to get the staff to go all the way around the back and fill it, and then all the way up. So it was a little inconvenient, but I suppose, well, this whole thing is inconvenient. But yeah, so I mean, but at least they're selling the basics like the sort of hot dogs and popcorn and nachos and the drinks. So you can still get your basic stuff like beverages. But and obviously when the old releases came back, they were reducing the prices of tickets. So I think they might have to consider rerunning some old films again until Death on the Nile comes out and No Time to Die comes out, in order to kind of keep themselves afloat. I know not everyone will come and see them, but it's I mean if they're that desperate, they'll probably do that. I mean, it was kind of exciting when they announced old films were coming back. It was nice to see some old things on the big screen. So, I mean, do you think they should do that again, Jack? I mean, your cinema, by the sounds of it, are still doing that.
Yeah, they are, and I think it's actually a good thing because if there's nothing else to show in the cinema apart from Tenet, then you may as well do it. I mean, yeah, I saw The Matrix yesterday, and next Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to see Rocky. They're showing the original Rocky, so I think it's a good idea personally. I think it's a pretty good idea. So they should do that. Yeah.
And when you've been back, have there been a lot of people there, or obviously because you've seen quite a few films since they reopened?
Yeah, sometimes there's been quite a few people there. I remember seeing it was Prisoner of Azkaban. There were a few people there, and there were a few people when I was watching Matrix yesterday. Not many. There's only like four other people on the screen. But yeah, I mean, one thing I will say is I think with older releases, it's going to be harder to fill up the cinemas because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, well, I've seen that before. Or, I've got that on DVD. I don't need to see that in cinema." So it'll probably be harder to fill up some of the older releases, but I think some of them that are pretty popular, like Empire Strikes Back and things like that, people would definitely go see that. And
yeah,
and I think it's a good thing personally because even if it's just one or two or three people going to see a film, at least you're getting money from that. You're getting £5 a time or £6 a time or whatever. But yeah, so
exactly.
I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, like you say, if they re-release the most popular critically acclaimed movies, then that's a good that's a good sign, that people will go and watch them. I mean, obviously, all the Harry Potter films were relaunched recently, and Jurassic Park was, The Empire Strikes Back, as you just said, Back to the Future. So, like re-releasing the classics was a good idea, and also they actually update the quality of them. They show them in, I think they actually project them in either, I think it's HD or 4K. I'm not entirely sure, but it's very good quality, obviously. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think Empire Strikes Back, they were going to show it in 4K, but they decided to show it in 2K instead because I don't think they could get the 4K out in time. But I mean, even seeing it in 2K, it looked really great, and yeah. So I think it's a bonus as well because if you've grown up loving these films and watched them on DVD or Blu-ray, then this is a rare opportunity to go and see them in the cinema, which is great. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, Sam has asked you a couple more questions. I don't know if you can see the live chat, but
Oh, what's he said?
can you see the chat because they're in the live chat?
Oh, I'll check now. Okay. Jack, are you still at college? And or are you still at home? At the moment, I'm still at home. Haven't gone back to college yet because college isn't opened, so it's all going to be online. But yeah, to answer your question.
Yeah, I mean, are you in your last year of college or?
Yeah.
Oh right. Well, good luck with that. I hope that goes well, despite being the online thing. But well, I mean, it's it's better than nothing, isn't it? So.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to ask you a question, Ollie.
Yeah, of course.
Apart from No Time to Die being delayed, what's the film being delayed that's pissed you off the most that they pushed back?
I mean, the King's Man one annoyed me, not because of the film, really, more because of the fact, like you said, Tenet had just come out, and it seemed like cinemas were going to be okay during the pandemic. We'd all manage, but no, I just didn't understand why they delayed it. It just seemed pointless, and Wonder Woman's delay didn't actually annoy me. It just kind of befuddled me. It was like, what? Why they moved it back 2 months? Seems a bit strange. And then Black Widow's delay, that kind of just annoyed me because I was like thinking, oh shit, does that mean that all these studios are losing confidence now and are not going to release things anymore this year? And it made me worry for the film industry. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question. But it's kind of, yeah, it's all been very uncertain.
Yeah, one thing that annoyed me about delaying Wonder Woman was that they already delayed it from it was supposed to come out July, and then they delayed it till September. I think it was supposed to come out this month or whatever, or August or whatever.
I think it was October, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And then they delayed it, and it's like, why are you keeping delaying this? The cinemas are open now. It made sense to delay it when it was originally supposed to come out in July because all the cinemas were pretty much shut. Now I just think it's ridiculous. And yeah, Tenet has made its money back, so I don't know why they're delaying it to December. And like you said, it's in the middle of winter. Surely things are going to get worse with the virus. So like, why would you delay it till December? It just makes no sense to me. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of people looking forward to Wonder Woman as well. To be honest, obviously, if we're avoiding another national lockdown, then we'll be all right. But yeah, it is going to be more risky in the winter, and people are panicking more as well. I've discovered this: people are actually panic buying again. When I don't know if you had this back in March, but when the lockdown went into effect in England, the people were just buying loads of toilet roll until there was none left, and that caused the problem for everybody else. I don't know if that happened with you in Ireland, but
it happened it happened in Northern Ireland as well. But yeah. Yeah.
And I'm worried that, I mean, obviously that kind of hysteria is coming back now, and I just feel like the one thing I will say is I think the government have initiated a bit of hysteria around winter, and everybody's been panicking and getting very paranoid, which hasn't helped, I think.
Yeah.
Well, no need to fear, Ollie, because we're going to open up all the cinemas and we're going to make sure that you get to see Black Widow, and it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing as well. When Tenet was released, it was released sort of in a staggered way. Wasn't released in the traditional sense. It was released in England, obviously in the UK, 26th of August, and then a week later it came to the US. But obviously, not all the cinemas were open. Some of them were, and some of them are opening more now. So the US is still showing the movie. So the movie is still making money. It's just slow. It's just slow, and that's the thing. That's the only thing with new releases, that it will be a bit slow to begin with. But that's not to say that they won't make money. So again, there's no need to delay things anymore. And there's not much left to delay as well. And think about it as well. You said as well, 2021 is now overstuffed with movies. There's no room for more delays, and if they delay anything else, they'll delay it to 2022. It's going to get that ridiculous, but well, we'll see.
Yeah. No, it could get that ridiculous. It's like, what happens if the virus is worse next year? You're going to delay it to 2022. You're going to delay it to 2023. It's ice up, and that's the thing. We really need. I mean, yes, the virus isn't great, but we need to just get these films out and stop delaying them constantly, because you're just gonna lose more money by delaying it, and then marketing the films for coming out in October or December or whatever. If you're gonna keep delaying and delaying, you're just gonna lose more money from marketing that film constantly. Like, same with Bond. I think that's why they don't want to delay it again, because they realize, if we delay it again, we're just going to lose a shit ton of money marketing this thing. And, like, what are we going to do? Release another trailer? That's going to cost us how many million for that, and the posters and all that?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, and I know it's an uncertain time, but they pretty much had to change their entire marketing strategy for No Time to Die. I mean, it just seems to have been bad luck. I mean, obviously they started marketing the movie in March, before the lockdown, and then I know. I mean, again, it's it was the situation. The lockdown forced all these things to be delayed and all these movies to be delayed. And Bond chose to delay before the lockdown anyway, but it would have been delayed anyway, regardless. So yeah, if it doesn't come out in November, it's going to be a real problem, because, like you say, they're pretty much going rapidly through the marketing now, and they can't remarket again. They just can't afford it. Like you say, they'll lose more money, and this film needs to do well. It needs to do well because of how expensive it is, and even, I mean, in a way, it's good that these other films have been delayed, so it makes room for No Time to Die to be, get more profit and be screened a lot. And it will be sort of the biggest release of the year. So it's kind of hard to say, but I genuinely think that it will do well, and I think that, like you say, we need to get it out there. We need to get it out there. It's a film that people are craving for, and they're now getting excited again. So to have it go again would be a real shame. But I think, if anything, if we don't go into another national lockdown, we are probably going to get this movie in November, which is good. So that's the one positive thing I can say for this year, is at least hopefully we'll get Bond in November. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got to really say. I'm not going to repeat myself anymore. But yeah, so is there anything you want to touch on, Jack, before we probably call it a night?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about No Time to Die there. I think they would really piss people off if they delayed it again, and if especially since they've released a new trailer and a new poster.
I mean, I really just hope they don't do the same thing they did last time, where you're nearly a month away from the film coming out, and then they decide, oh, we're going to delay it, because I think that would just really fucking like piss fans off, and yeah, because people will just be like, they'll just lose their enthusiasm, and there'll be some people you'll be so pissed off. They'll be like, oh, I won't even bother watching this film because they keep delaying it. Like people will be so pissed that they keep delaying it. I remember talking to Louis about it, and when he delayed it to November, and he said, oh, it may as well come out in 2030. So I mean, if they do the same again, they're just going to piss loads of fans off, and I think I think they'll piss a lot of people off because we've been waiting, half a decade for this film to come out. We've been waiting, 5 years since the last Bond film, which is quite a long time to wait for a Bond film. Usually, it used to be you get a Bond film every 2 years, and it's been quite a long time since Spectre. And I think if you delayed it again to like 2021, well, then people are gonna have to wait 6 years for a Bond film, and that'll be like the joint longest gap between a Bond film, like from License to Kill to GoldenEye, be this joint longest gap. And yeah, once the virus gets worse next year, you're going to delay it till 2022. You just can't keep delaying these movies. And yeah, like the cinemas, I mean, I want to go back and watch new releases. I mean, it's fine watching old releases. I enjoy that, but I want to see a new Bond film. I mean, at least if you do delay it again, I mean, at least show some of the old Bond films in the cinema. I mean, that would be good. But
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But no, you're right. Absolutely, people will lose their enthusiasm, and I think in March people felt very deflated after they heard the news about the delay, and I did as well. I was like, "Oh, for God's sake, it's till November as well." The fact that they said November, I was like, "Oh my God, I wasn't looking forward to waiting." But I'm glad they chose the date of November. To be fair, and obviously it's done them well in the past, so that's why they've chosen it. But it really sucks. Yeah, I mean, this film has been highly anticipated and still is. I mean, but like you say, I mean, at least they are fully marketing it now. They're going ahead with November, no matter what. I mean, well, obviously, if we're forced into a lockdown, that's inevitable. That's out of their control. But assuming that doesn't happen, they are going full steam ahead and releasing this thing in November. So I'm grateful for that. And they haven't given in like some of the other movies that said, "Oh, let's just delay it." I think the producers know, they're conscious of how long that this movie has been in the making and how long it has it has taken to release it. So and I think they're also conscious of the fans who have been waiting for it so patiently. So and it's been finished since like March. So of course they want to release it. I just I really hope it's worth the wait, and it will give us something nice and positive to end the year on and to talk about. And obviously, if it's going to be screening for November and December and whatever. So I'll go and support it as much as I can, to make sure it gets its money back and more. Again, the Bond movies usually do well. I mean, look at the Craig films. Skyfall was the first one to make over $1 billion worldwide, so that was a massive success. Spectre, I think, made over 800 million, so that was still very good. And I don't know what Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace did, but and again, this is Daniel Craig's last one. So that's another reason people will chuck to the cinema and go and see it. People are prepared. They'll go with their masks and sanitizer. Again, safety measures are well in place. It will be fine. I think it will be fine.
And not only that, but I mean, the film's been delayed so many times. It's getting a bit ridiculous now, and I think they realise the amount of times it's been delayed. It's been ridiculous. Originally, it was supposed to come out November 2019. Then they delayed it till Valentine's Day. Then they delayed it until April, and now they've delayed it till November. I think if they delayed it again, they'll realise how much money they're going to lose from marketing and all that, and they'll also realise how ridiculous it is. You can't just keep delaying a film constantly. Like people made a joke about No Time to Die. It's like becoming like New Mutants, the way they just keep delaying it, and it's like you can't keep delaying it. It's like, what, you're going to delay it for years to come, I think, when it comes out in November, this year, it'll have already been delayed a full year. So to delay it again, you'll be delaying it for like 2 years.
At least like when it was delayed from November till February, and then February to April. At least that was before they'd started all the marketing. You know, they were still very much in, I think, pre-production. They were still writing the script and everything, so that wasn't so bad. But I think it was only when they delayed it in March to November of this year that it really was like, oh shit, because they already spent money on marketing. So like I said, this, you know, new marketing campaign has had to sort of really go full steam ahead. They can't afford to waste a penny with this. So, and again, giving us that new trailer was awesome because it is selling the movie as something big that we really need to watch on the big screen. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it will be great to sort of see it become a huge success, even during the pandemic, and you know, get the Bond fans talking again, you know. But yeah, fingers crossed that we can end the year on a high note.
Yeah, you're right. You know, you can't keep delaying this. You know, it's be a bit ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you as well, like, are there any films that you think might be delayed again apart from Bond, or do you think that's probably it for delays?
That's a very telling question because I don't know. I mean, it's hard to kind of answer that question. Bond could be delayed again, but I hope not. Potentially the Pixar film Soul. I mean, there were rumors about it going on to Disney Plus, like Mulan. But I don't know if that's going to happen because the main protagonist is black, and I think they'll want to sort of for the sort of black community keep that on the big screen. So that can be something, I guess, because they're worried about backlash if they were to just shove it on Disney Plus. The black community would be like, oh, well, you didn't release in the cinema, blah blah blah, and all that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how true that is, but that's what my friend Lauren told me. She reckons that's why they've probably chosen to not put it on Disney Plus. So, I mean, I don't know. They could change their minds because obviously Artemis Fowl and Mulan went on Disney Plus, but obviously Mulan with the additional fee. And in terms of Wonder Woman, yeah, there's every chance that could be delayed again until next year. But quite honestly, there isn't a month free. I think January might be the only month where there's nothing coming out in 2021, at least to my knowledge anyway. I don't know, but
I mean, the films that have been pushed back to next year, they may as well release them in January next year because, you know, I mean, you've delayed Kingsman, which is already in the can and done. You know, may as well get it out as soon as you can, but yeah.
I think it's scheduled for February, so that's not too far away, but even so, yeah, just put it in January.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing coming out as well. You know, it's a good start to next year. You know, and I'm looking forward to the Kingsman. It looks quite good from the trailer. So, yeah, I mean, that's for Black Widow. Like, when does that come out? Is it coming next year or like?
Yeah, it's now been pushed to May 2021, which is technically a year after it was supposed to release.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. I mean, not only that, but I mean, we've been waiting for a Black Widow film for 10 years. What? No, it's going to be 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, though, this lockdown and everything has given us a break from the MCU. So I suppose that's probably...
That is one blessing, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the MCU, but I just think they put out too many films a year. It's like 2 or 3 films a year. It does get a bit tiring because they're, you know, it's always just chock full of superhero films each year. But yeah,
but I suppose it was quite lucky that the streaming services were here when we needed them, especially Disney Plus, which arrived in March, the perfect time for us all in lockdown to sit there and watch a load of stuff on there, including some new stuff like Artemis Fowl and Mulan. I mean, Netflix obviously has been doing well since the lockdown, so I mean, good on the streaming services. I mean, they're here to stay. They've cemented their place in society. But I mean, I don't want to lose cinema. You know, that's. I mean, if anything, I'd give up my streaming services for the cinema. If I had to choose between the two, I would definitely choose the cinema. But you know, it has been very concerning over this year, but I'm confident the cinemas will get back to a good place. But I don't reckon we'll see a good place for the cinema until next year, assuming these releases all actually release next year as scheduled. But until then, it's going to be very up in the air. I think the government should help keep these cinemas open, and what also would help is if the releases came out. So there's two very big factors there for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think the cinemas, they just need these new releases out so they could do better. And I feel bad for those cinemas in Peckham that are might be going under because there's no new releases in cinema for them to make money. And I just think I think it's really selfish what the movie industry's doing. Delaying all these films and letting the cinemas open but not letting them have these new films. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if there were no safety measures in place, and if there were no conceivable ways to actually run the cinemas during the pandemic, then fine, I would understand. But I think I think this was an independent chain, of course, like little independent cinemas. They're the ones that will suffer the most. The big chains will probably be okay. They'll take already taken a massive hit, but hopefully the success of Tenet has kind of helped them a little bit. But at the same time, not until they see some big money will they survive. I just hope that none of them go under completely. They might close a few of their cinemas across the country, but it's hard to really say. I mean, I just hope, obviously, because we've got Death on the Nile coming out. Hopefully that will do okay, and then Bond that's the one that needs to save the cinemas from closing, at least enough to keep them afloat. So yeah, it's hard to really say, but I hope and pray that none of the cinemas close indefinitely, even if they have to just close temporarily. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it kind of feels like they're closed anyway because there's no new releases.
Yeah, exactly. And we want new releases, and we want to see new films and review them, because I mean, this year's been I haven't reviewed that many films that have been released this year from 2020.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've done Doctor Who reviews a lot and other movie reviews. Like I reviewed Artemis Fowl, and yeah, after that, it wasn't until Tenet came out when I had a new release to review. Everything else I reviewed was either on streaming or I owned it, or it was Doctor Who or something like that. So yeah, new releases have been so thin on the ground this year. No one could have predicted this year and how it was going to go. So yeah, it has been very strange.
Yeah, I suppose in some ways it's been a good thing because it means we can, watch older films and review them and watch other things. But at the same time, it's and one thing I will say, it's kind of been good that we've had these old releases, because I think if this whole COVID thing didn't happen, we wouldn't get all these old re-releases of Empire Strikes Back and stuff. So I mean, it's I mean, I suppose in a way it's kind of been. I mean, the COVID thing hasn't been good, but the whole old releases and stuff, that's been pretty cool. Because I don't think we'd have had a chance to see any of these old films if this whole thing didn't happen. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't deny I was lucky to see Lord of the Rings on the big screen and some other old releases that I wanted to see. Even Inception I watched on the big screen, which was great. But yeah, no. Again, cinemas can't survive on old releases. It's just the fact. I mean, if streaming wasn't around, then potentially they may have had a bit more of a chance. But even then, people have DVD and Blu-ray and whatever, or even if the movies are on TV. So yeah, it's kind of showing old releases is mainly do it for anniversary purposes. Even before COVID, but now they seem to just play them for longer, just because there was nothing else out, so it made sense. But at this moment in time, yeah, we need new releases. I mean, Tenet is doing its very best, but it's been out. Well, for here, it's been out since August. So, and we're at it's basically been out for a month. It's the 26th of September now, so we've had Tenet for a month. We'll probably have it for as long as we can until Death on the Nile comes out. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, really. I hope Death on the Nile actually does well as well. I know it's a remake, but still, it's a new release, so it's better than nothing. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, I think hopefully it'll be good. I mean, it'll be hard to top the original one because I think that's a classic, but hopefully the new one's good. I mean, I thought the Murder on the Orient Express one from a few years ago was all right. Wasn't great, but it was decent enough. But yeah, at least it'll be something for people to see in a cinema, and that's a new release. And yeah, I think we need Bond out, and we need some other films out. And I mean, I wish these cinemas, well, these in the movie industry guys would reconsider delaying their films. Maybe say to themselves, well, you know what, maybe because things are getting better, we might release it now or release it in a month or two, not like next year or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. 2021 is going to be overstuffed with films. You're going to have like 3 or 4 big films a month, and it's just going to get a bit ridiculous. And yeah, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, I choose to see 2021 as a bit of an enigma at the moment. But in terms of the amount of releases there are, if they can all release, then great. That means there's a good chance for the industry to get some circulation back of money, even if not all the movies do very well. I mean, you're bound to get some releases that don't do very well, but it's going to take a while before we make up for the losses of this year. But again, to have that circulation going again is what we need. We need the we need things to start going back again. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got to say on this matter. Is there anything else you want to say, Jack? I think we'll probably end it here.
No, I don't really have anything more to say. Just looking forward to Bond if it does come out in November. Fingers crossed it does. And yeah, hopefully no more films are pushed back. And yeah, let's just get these films out for God's sake. But yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, same. I echo everything you say. Especially about Bond. I mean, No Time to Die. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been anticipating it for 5 years. So. And I want Daniel Craig to go out on a good note for James Bond, and I want it to be something nice to end the year for. So I will happily go with my mask into the cinema, even if I have to watch it on my own. I'll go and see it. But I mean, you can go to the cinema in groups anyway, as long as they know it's a group. But I mean, even under social distancing, it'll be fine. But anyway, thanks for watching this and listening to us, and please echo your.
I was going to say something before we close. The initials of Bond are NTTD. I mean, you may as well rename it No Time to Delay because we don't want it delayed again. But yeah,
exactly. No time to delay. Yeah, but thanks everybody for watching and listening, and thanks to the guys in the live chat as well for contributing. Yeah, so we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. We may do another one of these, depending on the situation. But to everyone out there, please wear your masks. Please follow the rules. I know it might seem frustrating at the time, but it's all for the better. So please, if you want these new releases to come out, do your bit and stop the spread of the virus.
Yeah, we might have to rant on Bond if they delay it again, but yeah,
fingers crossed. But anyway, until next time, I'm Mr. TARDIS 11. This is Jack the Film Fanatic. See you soon. Bye for now.